Welcome back to Practicing the Craft. Today we are going to continue our work on the spring wreath. As you can see, I have already added quite a few flowers, but it was quite the project to figure out how to put all of the flowers together once they were cut. So I'm going to go ahead and break it down today and going to end up filling in all of these little spaces so that we have a very, very pretty, fun spring and summer wreath. I'm going to focus on the peony flower today, and I am going to show you how to make it from start to end. So here we go. Okay, so the materials for this project are super low cost, and you probably already have them if you're a crafter. But you just need the Cricut tweezers. You probably can get away with any tweezers. I just happen to have the Cricut one. It came with my Cricut. You're going to need any kind of Cricut cutting machine. You're going to need a hot glue gun, our favorite, and then you can use just one mat. The light grip mat will work perfectly fine. Just to speed things up, I am also using the standard grip one just so I can have one ready to go as I'm peeling the stuff off of the first mat. And then you will need some paper. I get the paper packets at Michael's. I just get them whenever they're on sale. I think it comes out to like $10 and I can use them forever. And then I also got that wreath at Michael's. It was just a plain wreath. I think it was like $7. And they have them all the time in their wreath section. So pretty low cost project if you already have a Cricut machine. But let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so in making the spring/summer wreath, I actually found it in one of the Cricut projects called Spring Wreath. When you click on it, it does say advanced 2 to 3 hours, which I definitely think it is if you are going directly by the Cricut instructions. It will make all of the flowers pictured here, but today I'm just going to focus on the peonies. When I was first making it, it took me to the 3D flower decor assembly PDF, which I'll take you to it just to show you what it's like. It's pretty chaotic, which is probably why it's advanced, but we're just going to break it down step by step. I'm going to show you everything that you need to do today. So I'm going to go ahead and customize the project only because I am taking away all of the flowers that I'm not making. I'll make those in a different video, but the only two I'm going to keep are these right here. So these two are going to make the peonies, as well as these two tiny little circular cuts, but those are included. So it's pre-grouped. I can move this all around. So all you have to do is make sure that you don't get rid of those two, and then just go into the other ones and just continue to X them out. Okay, so now that I have all the other flowers taken away, I just have the peonies flowers, and I will go ahead and press make it. I like that they are already going on to these mats, so perfectly aligned. We're doing two different colored ones and then the same color inside, so that will be the first cut that we make. So we go ahead and press next on it, and I already have my paper laid out for what we want to do. And I have it set to cardstock plus. I don't know if my paper is slightly thicker, but with these cuts, they're so small and tiny that I saw that I was kind of having to pull to get the machine to cut all the way through once, I was peeling them off. So I go ahead and do that, just makes it a little bit easier. So if you want to do that too, I'm going to go ahead and get it loaded in. Okay. So I have them in order in which we're going to work with them. So these are the first ones that we're going to do. Do you see this little nub here? That's what we're going to put our hot glue on. So just a little dab of it on there. And then you just fold this over. So it's going to bend and create more of a flower shape. So we have kind of a little teacup there. And going to do the same to its twin. Just that little dab here on the lip, and then folding it over to create like this slightly bent shape, and it has a little triangle in the middle. Then you're going to take the two that you just did, and we're going to lay them on top of each other so that the petals fill in the gaps. And we're going to do that by hot gluing it. It doesn't really matter which one you want to do. This one has slightly less of a gap than this one, so I'm just going to put my glue on that. And I'm going to go around so I don't burn all of my fingertips off. And again, taking it to fill the gaps, so we don't want it laying the same exact way. And just kind of pushing it down a little bit. I got a little hot glue in my hand. And making sure to remove the strings. That's something that really elevates a project, is just not having the hot glue strings all over the place. Okay, so the next part are the little daisy shaped ones. And what we're going to do with these guys is just kind of push them forward. We want them to have a flowery look, and it's much more realistic that flowers are not lying flat. So just kind of push them forward. There's like a little circle here in the middle. You can be kind of aggressive with this, I've found, and it just works out. And what you're going to do is you're going to put that directly on top of the ones that we just put together. So I'm going to put my hot glue right in the middle here, and then take the one that we just pushed up and put it right in the middle of those. Again, removing those hot glue strings. And then we're going to take its twin and do that same exact thing. So pushing the petals forward, giving it that life look, however you would say that. Again, twisting it together and getting ready to glue it. Put it on the back this time. Doesn't really matter which way you do it, I've found. And again, just trying to offset the petals. So again, I didn't match it up perfectly, so they have kind of no gaps in it. And one more time, just kind of taking the petals, pushing them forward a little, and removing the strings. So that is what we have done so far. We have taken the two petals that look like this and turned them into this. And now we are on our last cut that we've made, or second to last cut, and it is this. This one is probably the hardest one for me to figure out originally, and it does take the most hot glue. So you look at each one of these dots, and what you're going to do is just put them together. So put a little dot of glue there, and you're going to press them. You're going to have to bend the paper a little bit and press them together, and you're going to do that all the way around so that they all line up. So I will just go ahead, put this little dab of glue here, and I've used the smallest amount I can, mostly so I don't burn my fingers when I push this together. So there's that pushed together. That's what it looks like from the back. And I'm just going to do that all the way around. So the little dab of glue, pushing it together, and then one more time, little dab of glue, and pushing it together. And this one's a pretty cup shape, kind of reminds me of a cupcake holder. And this is what it's going to look like at the end. So again, it's fairly tall. It stands up pretty well, and that is going to go directly in. So we have this one going directly on to what we've created, and just using your thumb to really push down that center. And that's where you want the hot glue. You need to be cautious that you're not hot gluing any of the petals, because that will cause them to stick together and lay down, and you won't get the same effect of the flower really being 3D. And now we have this last one, again, the twin to the one that we just did. We're just taking little dabs of glue and attaching these little dots. Here's one. Here's two. And again, you do have to bend this a little bit. The paper has give to it, so don't worry about like ripping it or like creating a bad angle. No flower is perfect. No flower is exactly the same. But again, removing all this hot glue string, which is, in my opinion, worse than glitter in the craft world. It gets everywhere, and as you can see, it's impossible to get off of your hands. Okay, so now we have one inside of it, and now we have its twin. Like we have done with the last few, do not lay it in so it's exactly the same. You won't see them that way. So let's stagger them so that it creates a full bowl effect. And I'm just going to put the hot glue on the bottom. We created this nice little petal for it, pedestal. And we're popping it in again in a different way than what we did the other one. If you're not happy with the way that your flowers are sticking up, you can move them a little bit now, but the best time to do that is before you put the third set on. And now we are on the last step. We're actually looking like we have a flower here. And here is where we're going to use the cutest little cutouts that we did, are these. So as pretty as they are, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to bend these inward. And it seems a little daunting, at least to me, because they're so small and so delicate, but they are a lot more sturdy than I thought. And you can do this to both of them so that they have a cute little nectar inside of this flower. Pretty sure this is what the bees and the butterflies love. And as you can see, I'll just hold these ones up. These are from the second flower, but this one's larger, this one's smaller. So this smaller one is going to end up going inside the larger one when we put it together. So here's the slightly larger one that we have scooped up. I found the easiest way to do this is just using this little dab of glue on the back side and then pressing this one into your flower. So you can just press this right in, and this is where the tweezers come in. It's a lot easier to get inside and make sure that it has a good stick without damaging any of the small pollinators when you have this tool. If I stuck my whole finger in there, as you can see, all of them would move out, and I don't want all of them to be flat. So I can move a couple out with this tweezer, and I think that makes a big difference. But again, I wouldn't want to stick my finger in them and squash them. So now we have the tiniest little piece left, and then we are almost done with this flower. Again, just using that little tap of glue, trying to remove all of those pesky strings. And this one you might even want to insert with the tweezers because it is so tiny, and we're putting it inside the other one. So we are just taking our flower and inserting it all the way in and using the tweezers to press it down. So it really gave it a nice amount of these little pollinators once we put the second one in. And again, use your creativity to push and pull whatever ones you want so that it sticks at the angle that you like. I like the look of that. I think that looks really good. And again, just taking a time to remove all of these little glue strings, if you have any around, makes a huge difference. And it's ready to go on your wreath. So you can just add as much hot glue as you want, find a good spot, and then you're good to go. So we're just going to do the same exact process with the second one. Again, working from our way up to the bottom. So with this one first, this one second, this one third, and the pairs all stack into each other. So let's go ahead and make that second one, then we'll put on the wreath. So here are the two flowers that we came out with. They are ever so slightly different sizes. This one's slightly bigger and this one's slightly smaller. And I absolutely love them. I love the look. As you can see, they're a little bit unique on each one of them. And I think, again, pushing up these middle layers especially really make all the difference in making the flower kind of stand up and stand out. So now it is time to put them onto our wreath. And I am just going to add a pretty hearty amount of hot glue because I, again, don't want these little flowers welcoming me home on my doormat. I want them at head height on my wreath. And I'm just going to press this on. In adding them to the wreath, it's pretty important just to take the extra second to push as the hot glue sets. Otherwise, it is way more likely to, one, slide out of place or not attach properly at all. So there's one on, and again, just making sure that there's no strings. They're attached to my fingers, but there's no strings on the wreath. It just makes it look a lot more polished. And here is our second one. Adding a little bit of hot glue on my very last bit of hot glue. And I am just going to stick it on right here where I'd like it. You can see the giant hot glue string that followed me. And there's really no rhyme or reason to the order that I'm putting these flowers on. It's just whatever I think looks good. I've been trying to spread it out a little bit based on color, so I have some blues in here, some more darker reds. Obviously, I'm a pink girl, so I have a lot of pink stuff. Okay, so here is the final look that we have. Here are the two that we created today. Oh, this one and this one is the one that we created today. I absolutely love the way they look. I, again, will be adding videos for every flower that is on this wreath on how to assemble them after cutting and where to find them to cut from. So check back to get the more videos on all of the different flowers that we have and give you a little bit of a close-up of what is to come. I am loving the look so far. If you guys have any color suggestions that I should put on here, any different flower types or anything like that, or if you know a hack on how to not get hot glue to be so stringy, please comment it below. But go ahead and click subscribe, follow along to make some more fun projects like this and to make sure our front doors are beautiful this season.